Listen to these two sentences. It's expensive, but I bought it. It's expensive. I bought it though. Same meaning, same situation, but only one of those sounds like a real conversation. Welcome to the advanced level of linking words. You already know a word that helps you in linking most sentences. In this video, we would learn some linking words that fit better for specific situations that's close to it. We will understand what is the difference between similar linking words and how to know when to choose which one. Today we'll discuss linking words that fall into 3 groups. 1. The words that push against something you just said. 2. The words that give an example of it. And 3. The words that put a story in order. Let's go. You already have 2 contrast words, but and although. They work. But there are more you'll hear every single day, and each one does something, but can't. Start with though. And in front of a sentence, though means exactly what although means. It's just more casual. Although it was late, we kept talking. Though it was late, we kept talking. Same meaning. Although for writing and formal speech. Though for everyday talking. Now here's the part almost nobody teaches you. Though can go at the end of a sentence. And when it does, it stops meaning although, it starts meaning however. Watch. However, the food was good. That's correct English. It's also quite formal. Nobody says that to a friend. Here's what a person actually says. The service was slow. The food was good though. Same job. However, at the front or though at the end. One sounds like a report, one sounds like a human. A few more. I don't like running, I do it though. It's a small flat, it's cheap though. She said no, she was nice about it though. And if you take one word from this whole video, take this one. Though at the end will make your English sound natural faster than any other word here. One warning, only though can do this. Although cannot go at the end. Even though cannot go at the end either. Just though. Speaking of even though is although with the volume turned up. You use it when the contrast is genuinely surprising. Although it was raining, we walked home. That's just information. Even though it was raining, we walked home. Now you can hear it. That was a strange decision. Even though he apologized, she didn't forgive him. Even though I studied for weeks, I failed. The even is doing one job. It tells the listener, this is surprising. Now careful. There is a word that looks almost identical and it is not the same. Even if. Even though is about something real, it happened. Even if is about something possible, it might happen. Even though it rained, I went. It rained, that's a fact, I went anyway. Even if it rains, I'll go. Maybe it will rain, maybe it won't. Either way, I'm going. One is a finished fact. One is a possible future. Say those two out loud once and you'll feel the difference. Another one. Despite it was raining, we went out. Why is that wrong? Not the meaning. The meaning is perfect. It's the shape. Here's the rule and it's the whole idea. Although is followed by a full sentence. Despite is followed by a thing. Listen to the difference. Although it was raining, that's a full sentence. It has a subject, it, and a verb, was. Despite the rain, that's just a thing, a noun, no verb. So, despite the rain, we went out. Despite the traffic, I arrived on time. Despite his age, he runs every morning. And if you want to put an action after it, you change the verb to the ing form. Despite being tired, I finished the work. Despite living in Paris, she never learned French. Now, what if you really want a full sentence after it? English gives you a bridge. Despite the fact that it was raining, we went out. Correct. A bit long, but correct. In spite of is the same word in 3 pieces. Same meaning, same rule. In spite of the rain, we went out. And one very common mistake to avoid. It is despite, never despite of. Despite the rain, in spite of the rain. The word of belongs to in spite and only to in spite. One more kind of contrast, and it's a different kind. Everything so far had a problem in it. Rain, traffic, tiredness, something pushing against something else. But sometimes there's no problem at all. 2 things are simply different. That's whereas. I like tea, whereas my sister likes coffee. Nothing is wrong here. Nobody has a problem. 2 facts side by side pointing in different directions. The north of the country is cold, whereas the south is warm. He's very quiet, whereas his brother never stops talking. Weil does the same job. I like tea, while my sister likes coffee. But while has a second life, and you already know it. It also means at the same time. I listened to music while I cooked. So how do you know which one it is? The sentence tells you. If the 2 halves are 2 different things, it's a contrast. If the 2 halves are happening together, it's time. And when you want to give each idea its own sentence, use on the other hand. The job pays well, on the other hand, the hours are terrible. Same job as whereas. Whereas joins 2 halves inside one sentence. On the other hand starts a new one. That's the contrast set done. Quick check before we move on. Can you feel a difference between these 2? It was cold, we swam though. And I swim in summer, whereas my friend swims all year. The first one has a problem in it. The second one is just 2 different habits. Got it? Good. On to the second group. Sometimes you say something and you can see it didn't land. The other person's face goes blank. These are the words you reach for next. For example, gives one piece of proof for a bigger idea. This city is expensive. For example, a coffee costs £5. For instance means exactly the same thing. It just sounds a little more formal. Some habits are hard to break. For instance, checking your phone in bed. Now here's a pair people mix up constantly. For example, and such as. They mean the same thing. They sit in completely different places. Such as attaches directly to a noun inside the sentence. I love citrus fruits, such as oranges and lemons. For example, can start its own sentence. I love citrus fruits. For example, I like oranges. So the test is simple. Are you naming things right after a noun? That's such as. Are you starting a fresh statement? That's for example. And in casual speech, most people just say like. I love citrus fruits like oranges and lemons. Perfectly normal spoken English, just keep such as for writing. Next one. In other words, doesn't add a new fact. It takes the same fact and says it more plainly. He hasn't replied to any of my messages. In other words, he's angry. The company lost money for 3 years. In other words, it was failing. It's what you say when you want to be sure the other person got it. And one for conversation only. I mean, you use it in 2 ways. To fix a mistake. The meeting is on Tuesday. I mean Wednesday. Or to explain yourself better. It's fine. I mean, it's not perfect, but it works. Don't write it. Just say it. It's one of the most common things in real English conversation. Right? Last group, and it's a short one. Putting a story in order. You already have then for this. I woke up and then I ate breakfast. Step 1, step 2. But then only does one thing. It moves you forward 1 step. Here are 3 words that do more. Meanwhile means at the same time, somewhere else. I was cooking dinner. Meanwhile, the children were destroying the living room. 2 things. Same moment, different places. That's the whole word. She was stuck in traffic. Meanwhile, her interview was starting without her. Next. Eventually means after a long time, it finally happened. The important part is the waiting. Eventually tells the listener that this took longer than it should have. We waited outside for an hour. Eventually, a taxi came. He tried 4 times. Eventually, he passed. Take out eventually and you lose the waiting. A taxi came is just a fact. Eventually, a taxi came tells a small story. And the last one, in the end. In the end means, after all of that, here's what actually happened. It's the final result of a whole process. We looked at 10 flats. In the end, we chose the first one. We argued about it for weeks. In the end, nobody went. Now, this is the trap. In the end is not the same as at the end. At the end is a point in time, a place in something. At the end of the film, everybody cried. There's a bank at the end of the street. In the end is a result. The film was 3 hours long. In the end, I fell asleep. So, at the end of a thing. In the end, as a result. One is a place, one is an outcome. All right. That was a lot of words, so let's find out what stuck. I'll give you a sentence with a gap. You say the missing word out loud. I'll wait a few seconds, then give you the answer and the reason. Pause the video anytime you need longer. Ready? 1. The hotel was small. It was very clean. Blank. Though. At the end of the sentence, though means however, and it's what a real person would say. 2. Blank the traffic, we arrived on time. Despite or in spite of. The traffic is a thing, not a full sentence, so despite is the right shape. Although would need a verb after it. 3. I prefer the mountains, blank my wife prefers the beach. Whereas, nobody has a problem here, it's just two different tastes side by side. 4. Blank it rained all afternoon, we had a great time. Even though it rained, that's a fact, it really happened, and the good time is the surprise. If the rain were still only a possibility, you'd say even if instead. 5. She enjoys quiet hobbies, blank reading and painting, such as, it's attached straight to a noun inside the sentence. If you wanted, for example, you'd need to start a new sentence first. 6. He never returns my calls and forgets my birthday. Blank, he's a terrible friend. In other words, no new information, just the same fact said more plainly. 7. I was on the phone. Blank, the dinner was burning. Meanwhile, two things at the same moment in two different places. 8. We spent hours choosing a restaurant. Blank, we just cooked at home. In the end, that's the final result of the whole process. Careful. At the end would be wrong here. That one means a point in time. How did you do? If some of those slipped past you, that's completely normal. These words are very similar to each other, and that's exactly what makes them hard. Go back to that chapter and watch it once more. Before the recap, one challenge. In the comments, write 2 sentences about your week. One with though at the end, one with in the end. Those 2 will do more for your spoken English than anything else in this video. Pause and write them now. Done? Nice work. Take a screenshot of this. It's the whole video on one screen. For contrast, though, a casual although, and at the end of a sentence it means however. Even though, a surprising contrast that really happened. Even if, a possible one, not a real one. Despite and in spite of, followed by a thing, never a full sentence. Whereas and while, a difference, not a problem. On the other hand, the same idea in a new sentence. For example, and for instance, start a statement, such as, attaches to a noun, like, the spoken version. In other words, say it again, simpler. I mean, fix or explain in conversation. For order. Meanwhile, at the same time, somewhere else. Eventually, after a long wait, it happened. In the end, the final result. Here and remember, at the end is a place. In the end is an outcome. One last thought. Don't try to use all of these tomorrow. Pick 2. Use them until they feel boring. Then come back for 2 more. That's how these words move from a list into your actual speaking. And there's a part 2 to this lesson. Everything today was about things that already happened. The next video is about things that haven't happened yet, how to set a condition, and how to give a purpose. The link is on your screen. If this helped, please help us back. Like the video and subscribe for more. Share it with someone who's learning English alongside you. See you in the next one.